that night and in the coming weeks. As a matter of fact, I kind of remember my brother-in-law also having some problems with that film and refusing to see that again as well. So number 4 is Paranormal Activity. Okay, so for number 3, I'm going to go with a little throwback movie. This is actually the first scary movie that I remember seeing. I was a young teenager in the 80s, and I'm just dating myself. But I went and saw a movie called The Thing. And for those of you guys don't know what The Thing is, go look up John Carpenter's The Thing. Not the remake, but the original, where these scientists are stuck somewhere in Antarctica or someplace like that. And they find this alien who's able to take control of them, almost like the invasion of the body snatchers, but is able to assume their form, and then he can act like and pretend to be them. And they don't really know who's the alien and who's still human. So the reason why that scared me is because when I was young and I was sleeping in a room with my 3 brothers, and I would go to bed at night, I actually was worried that one of them were an alien. I mean, we were already kind of fighting and not getting along anyway. But because they were acting weird and because I was in that period of my life, I worried that they were aliens. And for a long time, I had a hard time sleeping in the room with them. So that's number 3. Number 2 is A Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, I can spend 10 years talking about the reasons why that movie scares me and still scares me kind of to this day, because anytime that something can attack you in your dreams and you can do nothing about it, that frightens the hell out of me. Many times I've gone to sleep and I've had a dream, and just like everyone else, I'm sure, you're trying to run away from something scary or some scary monster, and then you can't move. You ever had that happen to you while you're dreaming? Where A Nightmare on Elm Street kind of gives me that feeling. It's in Freddy Krueger, man. What a cool and just disgusting and horrifying scary person. That's the only way I can describe it. Freddy Krueger and The Nightmare on Elm Street is coming in at number 2. And the top movie that has scared me to this day and will always continue to scare me, and I refuse to watch it today, is The Exorcist. That's right. To me, that movie, the way it was done, who starred in it, the little girl, to this day, scares the living daylights out of me. And I refuse to watch it. So for that reason, it's going to come in at number 1. And I can tell you, that movie right now is the reason why I won't go see any of these new kind of scary, possessed, in the house kind of crazy movies that are out right now. I refuse to see them because that one movie destroyed my ability to see any scary movies for the rest of my life. So I thought I would have a little bit of fun and share my 5 scariest movies of all time. But email me at thiswouldmakeagreatmovie@gmail.com and let me know if you agree or disagree. What should be on the list and what should not be on the list for you. Why don't you send me your top 5? And if you can get that to me quickly, I'll be willing to share it on my next episode. All right? So my 5 scariest movies of all time are The Blair Witch Project, Paranormal Activity, The Thing, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and The Exorcist. All right, so let's get into our fantasy cast for this week. Let's start off with Ellis. To play Ellis, I'm choosing Bryan Cranston. And you guys know who Bryan Cranston is. He's the guy who plays in Breaking Bad as Walter White. He also played in Godzilla. And I first saw him in the TV series Malcolm in the Middle as the father. The reason why I'm choosing him because Ellis needs to be someone who has the ability to look very well off. And it also needs to be someone who can play a very frightened man that's being held hostage in his home. And it also needs to be someone at the end who you can see as a bad guy, as a not-so-good person when you find out that he's been harvesting people's organs. So for that reason, because I've seen him in all of those wonderful movies and TV shows, I know the range that this actor has. I think he could do a great job playing Ellis. And so for that reason, as Ellis, I'm choosing Bryan Cranston. And if you want to see what he looks like, you want to see what all these actors and actresses look like, please go to the Facebook page, This Would Make a Great Movie, and check it out because I'll have it all posted there. All right, so to play Ellis's wife, Karen, I'm going to go with Jennifer Connelly. Jennifer Connelly played in Noah. She played in Winter's Tale. She also played in A Beautiful Mind. And she played in the unpopular version of the Incredible Hulk story called Hulk, simply titled Hulk. But nonetheless, I think she's a wonderful actress. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Jennifer Connelly. And I think that she and Bryan Cranston would make for an interesting couple. Just the dynamics of those two, I think, would bring a certain cool element to the storyline. And I think that when you find out who I choose to play the homeless guy, I think the 3 of those actors together could really rock this movie. And to play the homeless guy, I'm going to go with Danny Glover. And here's the reason why. This homeless person is someone that needs to be able to carry a certain mysterious element to the entire storyline. They need to be menacing, they need to be scary, but at the end, they need to be able to be someone you can see as a hero, someone you're kind of rooting for, that you know is trying to defend the poor people and the homeless people of the world who are being taken advantage of. And I've been a fan of Danny Glover since Lethal Weapon. I mean, in that movie, he was funny. But he also played in Dreamgirls, and he was very dynamic in that. And then lately, he's been playing in a really cool series called Badass. I think it was in part 2 and 3. But Danny Glover is someone who I know can capture the role, can bring a certain frightening element to it, but at the end kind of release the movie and allow you to be rooting for this guy because you know the homeless person is actually the hero in the story. So for that reason, the fact that he's going to be playing next to Bryan Cranston and Jennifer Connelly, and the three of them bring a certain dynamic element and also could rock this movie, I'm choosing Danny Glover to play the homeless man. And finally, to direct all three of these great actors, I'm going to choose none other than the captain of horror, Wes Craven. Wes Craven has done Scream. He's done A Nightmare on Elm Street, which I mentioned earlier as one of the scariest movies of all time for me. And he's also did The Last House on the Left. I think he actually wrote that as well. He's someone that knows horror. He's someone who could take this storyline, identify the areas where we need to build the suspense visually, and then rock the rest of this movie and turn it into something very frightening. All right, so that does it for another episode of This Would Make a Great Movie. As always, please go into iTunes and leave us a review and let us know how much you like the stories that we do on the show. And also be on the lookout for the crowdsourcing initiative that we're going to be doing in November so that we can raise money to create visuals around some of the stories that we presented on the show. If you want to contact us or if you have a story idea of your own, please reach out to me at thiswouldmakeagreatmovie@gmail.com. You can also check me out on my blog at thiswouldmakeagreatmovie.libsyn.com/podcast. And Libsyn is spelled LIBSYN.com. And please, please, please go to the Facebook page and like the page, and also check out some of the images that we'll be putting up there to support the Fantasy Cast. Guys, I want to let you know that I really appreciate you listening. You guys are awesome. I love doing this show. I love the feedback that we're getting, and I certainly love all the emails that you guys send in support of the show to let us know things that you like about the stories and how much you appreciate the ideas that we present. So keep listening, okay? And until the next time, I'm going to miss you guys, but right now, I'm out.